Shila Malois Esainai El Hahadim Me'ayin Yavo Esli. I will lift up my eyes onto the hills, from whence shall my help come. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth, and he will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keeps thee will not slumber. Yinei lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Behold, he that keeps Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall keep thee from all evil. He shall keep thy soul. Adonai yishmer tzeischa v'yacha me'ata v'yad olam. The Lord shall guard thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and forevermore. We gather today, sadly, to bid farewell to a life cut short. Bluma Kegel-Silverman, on the 22nd day of Cheshvan, November 15th, she returned her soul to her Creator. A very unique soul, a person a little bit out of the box, somebody of which today our duty and obligation is to speak words of truth, tribute, and honor, and to place upon our hearts the inspiration that she leaves behind. Bluma did not leave behind children, but she leaves behind many students. And today, we all become her students, to learn from her spirit, from her free spirit, so that a part of us walks away with her in her blessed memory. I would like to invite Wayne, who's been a dear friend for Bluma these past few years, trying years. And I will follow with the eulogy.
Thank you. Well, first off, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. As much as you knew Bluma, everybody seems to have known her more or less in the same way, but differently, personally, teacher-wise, friend-wise, family-wise. I met Bluma roughly 6 years ago, 2008, and one of the things that hit it off was the fact that Barry and I hit it off, Bluma and I hit it off on the fact that I loved animals, so training and playing with the dog was a great thing. So if we take a look at Bluma, one of the things that came across, and for anybody that's seen the web page of condolences, which is now listing quite a few people and previous students, they seem to come across with a sort of one impression. Bluma was an artist, lived outside of the boxes, and she used herself in every which way to show a student their potential, even if it meant kicking him in the butt until they obtained their potential. And if you read some of the remarks from various students, that's exactly what they take from it, is that if they didn't have her kick them in the butt at that particular time to get out and do stuff and, embrace the world, they would have lost everything. One of the things, when I first met Bluma and Barry, I used to be giving courses on life and stuff like that, and one of the things that we found in common was, my main phrase used to be, if you can see it, you can seize it. And that's one of the things that Bluma said that she used to try and do, was show the students that this is the possibilities that are out there. If you can see yourself in it and develop the passion for it, you will achieve it. So that's one of the things we had in common. The other thing is, destiny should never be a matter of chance, but a matter of choice. And she showed them exactly that that's what they needed to do, to start making choices there at the high school level, through art, through expression of themselves, as how to deal with life. Which brings me to one of my favorite poems, and one of the ones that I used to read to her at the time. This poem's called Words of Wisdom. Many people will walk in and out of your life, but only true friends will leave footprints in your heart. To handle yourself, use your head. To handle others, use your heart. Anger is only one letter short of danger. If somebody betrays you once, it's his fault. If he betrays you twice, it's your fault. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. He who loses money loses much. He who loses a friend loses much more. But he who loses faith loses all. Beautiful young people are accidents of nature, but beautiful old people are works of art. Learn from the mistakes of others. You can't live long enough to make them all yourself. Eleanor Roosevelt wrote this back in the Second World War. And the last thing to talk about Bluma was the fact of her attitude, personally, and what she taught, was that life is 10% crap and 90% of the attitude that you use to deal with it, get over it, and surpass it, and help others to get through their tough times. For me, that's what Bluma embodies, and as I read through some of these comments from all the people that have sent them in so far, it's the common thread, that she was there to help people get their potential, no matter what it cost, and that she would stand up for them and their rights to make sure that they can achieve. And did battle often with the school boards and such, just to ensure that her drama classes and such got the recognition and also the funding. And as it turned out to be, my uncle was the head of the school boards at that particular time, and when I mentioned Bluma's name, oh, I remember her as if it was yesterday, coming in with her finger going, you need to give me money for my students to do this or do that. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's the way I'll remember Bluma, as a fighter, all the way up until the end, always looking at people. And the other day when I went back to the hospital to thank the nurses and doctors, because that's what she had asked me to do after she had passed, to go personally thank them. One of the orderlies that apparently has been there for 35 years said he never had so much fun with a patient as he had with Bluma. And it's the first time in 35 years anybody came up and actually said thank you for taking care of somebody, shaking their hand and saying, you know, she was blessed to have you taking care of her as much as anybody else on the staff. And that's the way I want to remember Bluma, as the person that kept giving everybody compliments on what they did and how to overachieve what they were doing and find fun with it. And I thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Wayne, that was beautiful. I think she would appreciate that. I've been busy reading all morning the flow of condolences that, and I want to thank her brother, Bluma's brother Adam, for forwarding me many of the condolences, and as well, you could see them, many of them posted also on the Paperman site. So, you know, you could say what you want about Bluma, and I think if you ask a lot of different people, you'll get so many different vantage points depending the time of her life. But when you read these condolences, you begin to see the impact, the incredible impact that I am growing envy of, the kind of impact, you know, being a rabbi trying to make a difference in people's lives. And you look at this woman whom really, truly changed lives. And one of the condolences I would like to read, because it kind of hit me, and I thought it was very powerful. Wendy Lands wrote the following. When you're in high school, if you're lucky, there's one teacher who gets you, one teacher who takes an interest in you, one teacher who becomes a game changer, who sends you out into the world knowing yourself and loving yourself in a way you wouldn't have without her great influence. And every time you, as an adult, hit your mark, land a great gig, feel yourself in your zone, you think of her and how her voice is still in your head and heart, cheering you on, and will always be. My deepest condolences to all who loved her and were loved by her. So this is a student many, many years ago, and she was in high school, that still hears Bluma's voice every time she succeeds. In the writings of King David, there's a famous expression, Lulei hamanti lirot betuv Hashem. It's a very powerful expression. I wish I would have been able to share this with Bluma when I met her a number of years ago when Barry passed away, her late husband, and we shared some time in my office, and I got to see the methodical heart and mind in her grieving process. Lulei hamanti lirot betuv Hashem, the world says, when I see it, I'll believe it. And that's the natural approach to life. When I see it, I'll believe it. But there are few in life that don't live by that axiom. It's actually the reverse. When they believe it, they begin to see it. And that was Bluma. She believed in people. And maybe they didn't even believe in themselves. But if somebody believes in you, and in life generally, if you believe in something strong enough, you begin to see it. You begin to see it in its beauty, in its full realization. Born May 25th, 1947, to Anatol and Chernia Kegel. Her parents were Holocaust survivors originally from Poland. Bluma was born in a DP camp in Hamburger, Germany, in Deutschland. She came to Canada in 1951. She was 3.5, almost 4 years old, the middle child. Rose, her older sister, here with us today, and Adam, the baby. They grew up in the Plateau in Montreal. Bluma went to Barrambing High School. Her father, middle-class, hard-working man trying to raise his family as new immigrants to Canada, owned a dry goods store, like a bargain center. It was one of those family-oriented businesses where Bluma and Rose, after school, would go in and help out in the store. And Bluma often spoke about that time where she felt she made it into her own footsteps when her parents, on their 25th anniversary in 1971, took a trip to Israel for a few weeks, and Bluma ran the store. And very proud moment for her. And that was the kind of family she came from, hard-working, Yiddish-speaking, Hamish, trying to start a new life, carrying with them the horrors, the memories of the Holocaust, of which had a tremendous impact on Bluma and her life. Bluma was a very attractive, a beautiful, inside-out kind of person. She had many, many suitors. The boys were all after her in high school. She was wise, attractive. There was something about her that would draw you to her presence. She had a love early on for drama and dance, and she pursued that in her higher education, receiving multiple degrees, I believe 4 degrees in the area of teaching. She got her teacher's degree from Concordia, her Master's of Science from McGill, obtaining more degrees in the field of drama, dance, and choreography. She's starting her teaching career in English and drama, starting off at Westmount High, going to Riverdale for many years, teaching, I believe, in the beginning, the very first job in Rosemount. And she had many, many students throughout the years. And the overwhelmingly positive impact she had on them. But this wasn't just a nice, smiley, kind, generous, open-hearted type of teacher. No, she knew that it required a balanced measure. Strict, in-your-face type of teacher, hard-nosed, but at the same time would give you the shirt off her back. She would see you through your personal problems, your challenges of academia. But most of all, she was inspirational to them. She was motivational to them. She got them going. She would often say these words, "If I can see that you can do it, how could you not see that you can do it?" And that was her "I believe in you" statement. To Bluma, life was a stage, and in many ways, she was always at the center of that stage. At times, she would make people really happy, and at times, you would think she was totally over the top, annoying, stubborn, disappointing. If Bluma would have a point of view, she would make sure not only that she was heard, but that you heard it loud and clear. She sometimes found herself guiding, correcting, enhancing people that were not her students. And that was one area where she didn't know how to draw the line, perhaps, in graduating from teacher to friend to family member. To Bluma, there was always a correction. If you would leave a message on her machine, she would call you back and would say, "The first sentence was good, but the final line or two, you need more diction, you need to be more expressive." So people would get, that sense that she's the teacher. And the truth is, that was who Bluma was. In the end, that's what defined her. One of the highlights of her career was when she took her students in a competition on the stage, not here in Montreal, but it was one that took them to the United Nations. It was a world competition of drama and dance. And Bluma wrote, choreographed, and directed a play called Inside Out. And it was designed to bring forward the inner peace that this world can achieve in global harmony. The accolades were tremendous. Canada's ambassador, Stephen Lewis, then at the United Nations, wrote this and it was printed in the papers. "For one fleeting hour, there was something real happening on our world stage." That was Bluma. She was very proud of that award. And the awards were plentiful. In the hours, days, months, and years she invested in bringing out the creativity of her students, in introducing them to the meaning of innovation, of expressing their inner soul. And today, we give thanks on behalf of all of her students that she brought out in them things that they never knew they had. One of her students, I learned yesterday, without mentioning names, who did very well in his life in the field of drama and theater, climbed the ladder, came to see Bluma and signed his autograph on his picture. "You were the best teacher I ever had." And that's the kind of impact people
10, 20, 30 years later can still remember you as a teacher, you know you did something right. She married Barry Silverman on April 16, 1989. It was a 23-year marriage. They worked hard together. They were there for each other. He passed away in a long illness. And the one thing that Bluma had a very hard time in life dealing with was sickness, sadness. You know, she couldn't even get herself to watch the Schindler's List or anything that had anything to do with violence or hatred or illness. That was the one part that she couldn't cope with. She had a very difficult time when Barry was deteriorating in his cancer. To be in Bluma's circle was actually to be a part of a life that was full of drama. Bluma, with all of her blessings, came with a strong voice, sometimes confrontational. Not everybody could relate or absorb the free spirit of her candle in the wind. She despised restrictions. There weren't too many lines in life that could contain her. The kind of person that would be sitting amongst many around the table and then just pull out a cigarette and light it up. Many would object, how come? In Bluma, that was life. Full of charge, full of emotion. And today, I think we ought to learn from this. This kind of life that was maybe cut short, but so full of energy. She was the kind of person that would sell her cleverness, as the great spiritual masters would say, and sell it in a moment just to purchase bewilderment. She could see any scene taking place in life and be thrown into the bewilderment, the beauty, the miracle of that moment. Her co-worker, Pearl Adams, who taught with her early on in Riverdale High School, spoke of Bluma as a progressive, carefree, non-conventional human being, so bright. But what touched her most was the commitment she had towards her students, where most teachers, you have your allot of time, you're there from 9 to 5 or from 8 to 3. Or with Bluma, it was day and night. The commitment, the devotion that she invested into her art was just immeasurable. In the Talmud, there's an expression and a long debate that takes up a number of pages. Who are we to respect more? Our parents or our teachers? It's worth studying this debate. And we're not just talking about teachers. The Talmud calls them the Rebbes, or those who. And in conclusion, Rab Abba says the following: it is the teacher that deserves more respect. For the parent gives us the gift of life. The teacher grants us the art of living. That was Bluma. That's why we give honor to her today. We respect the blessings that she infused into so many that came through her path. May her soul be blessed today. Tehei nishmasat tzirura b'tzirur hachayim. And all those that she touched, she built within their hearts and minds a monument that will indeed bring blessing to her memory. She began to see all that which she believed. And that, my friends, is the greatest gift that any of us can achieve in our lives. Tehei nishmasat tzirura b'tzirur hachayim, and let us say Amen. Please rise. El malei rachamim shechem b'amranim amsei menucha nochein al kanfei ashchina b'males kedoshim terim kizer akir mazin as nishmas Bluma asantikol shalchal elamar babushin ad vutstaka bad askaras shvasa b'gan eden teim menuchasa lachem al arachim yasrei v'seisak nafav le'lamim v'yitzrer b'tzur achaim as nishmasa adinai hu nachlasa v'sanuach b'shalom ha-mishkava v'neimar amen. O God, full of compassion, thou who dwells on high, grant perfect rest unto the soul of Bluma, who has gone on to eternity and whose memory, kindness, and charity is offered. May her repose be in paradise, and may the Lord of mercy bring her under the cover of his wings forever. May her memory be a blessing, and may her soul rest in peace, and let us say Amen. It is often that children are the ones who carry on with the Shiva, with the Kaddish, with the kindness. I would like to ask a personal request to everybody here today. We believe very much that the soul is elevated by the kind acts that people do in its name. So in the next year, particularly in the next 11 months, if there's something that you can do, something of kindness, of love, of compassion, a mitzvah, that you could fulfill in the name of Bluma, it would be a tremendous blessing and kindness for her soul. Amen. The interment will take place at the Beth Abraham Congregational Section of the Kahal Israel Cemetery at Dollard. Donations in her memory may be made to the Cummings Jewish Center for Seniors or the Siegel Center Cancer at the Jewish General Hospital Foundation. The Shiva will be observed strictly private. I would like to ask the designated pallbearers to please come forward.